Alright, so we got the 1152 spoilers, and this chapter is insane. We're getting a flashback on an important character, and we're finding out how it is possible to damage the Holy Knight / Gorosei and get past the regeneration the way that Scopper did a couple chapters back. It's finally being revealed. Also, sorry guys, no camera for this video. I'm on the road at the moment, but I will be back later this week in case you missed seeing my face, which I'm sure some of you did. But let's just get into it. So, Gaban explains that the Holy Knights are not invincible, so Luffy must improve his Conqueror's Haki. Gaban also says that there's more than one person in the Straw Hat crew who could use Conqueror's Haki, and Sanji thought he meant him, but Gaban talks to Zoro. Luffy knew Zoro has it too. Whoa, what a way to start a chapter. This is truly wild. So first of all, like I said, we're finding out how you damage the Holy Knight / Gorosei, get past the regeneration that maybe Imu has bestowed upon them. And it turns out it's what we thought. I mean, I guess it was like Occam's razor kind of, or it was just like the most plausible thing. And it was just, yeah, using advanced Conqueror's Haki. But this time, like we also said before, it's not just advanced, it's advanced Conqueror's Haki. So that means Luffy hasn't been using that level yet at this point. And despite that, he was still able to defeat Kaido and, you know, do some stuff against Gorosei, but not get past the regeneration, which requires this advanced Conqueror's Haki that Gaban apparently knows. So that also makes you think that, like, did Kaido know it? Or, I don't know. It really remains to be seen what's really going on with this, but it's just kind of like another thing that Luffy has to learn this arc. Because we saw, you know, during Wano, he learned advanced armament. And that's how, you know, he's able to do the push and get past grabbing the collars and all that stuff. He learned it in the jail. And that allowed him to progress against Kaido, even though it ultimately came down to Gear 5. But I guess in this arc, Gaban might teach Luffy how to do this advanced Conqueror's Haki so that he can get past the regeneration. Now also, it's straight up being confirmed here that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki. It already has been before. It was alluded to in the series during Wano, but I think in supplementary material it was confirmed that Zoro had Conqueror's Haki. But now it's straight up just literally being said on the page, which is great. So now Zoro and Luffy for sure can injure or stop the regeneration of the Holy Knights and the Gorosei, but now it's like the rest of the crew can't because, you know, only two of them have Conqueror's Haki, unless Sanji actually has it, which, going by the way that things are, especially with parallels to Roger, it probably means that Sanji is going to get Conqueror's Haki, especially now that Gaban has it. But first, let's talk about our favorite Japanese pop snack subscription box, and that's Tokyo Treat. This month's box is Konbini Snacking, and it's filled with tons of snacks from Japanese konbinis or convenience stores. It also comes with a booklet that explains all of the snacks in the box as well as Japan and its culture. First, I tried the butter soy sauce potato sticks. I didn't know butter and soy sauce would be such an incredible flavor combination, but here we are. These things are awesome. Next, I tried the Baumkuchen Earl Grey cake. This is a pretty unique treat because of the Earl Grey flavor, which is something I didn't even know I wanted in this nice soft layer cake. Then of course we have to try the special Japanese Kit Kats, and this month it is the matcha chocolate Kit Kat. As always, these are incredible. They have a nice rich green tea flavor mixed with that smooth milk chocolate for the perfect taste explosion. So guys, you can get your very own Tokyo Treat box by checking the link in the description, and make sure you use code Zhoniin for $5 off your first box. Thanks guys. Hirudin says that he won't release Loki, but Luffy asks Loki to join his crew. That's why Hirudin must release Loki. However, Loki, Hirudin, Zoro, and Sanji are not in agreement with Luffy's plan. Whoa, that's a wild prospect. Loki joining the Straw Hats? I mean, I don't think he's going to. It would just be too good at this point for something like that to happen, you know? He's just way too powerful, way too big. He couldn't even fit on the Sunny. Like, he's way bigger than the Sunny, so yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But if he does wind up joining, it might be like a Yamato joining, you know, like I'm kind of in the crew, but I'm actually just going to do a cover page for a couple years before I come in at the end. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. Gaban reveals that Luffy, Loki, and Hirudin, that he and Shanks were in Elbaf during the events of that terrible day. A flashback begins 14 years ago. Loki went to the castle to ask King Harold why he aligned with the world government, the ones that killed Rocksteady Zebek. And when Loki arrived at the castle, he found King Harold pierced by his own soldiers. Meanwhile, Shanks told Gaban that he once bonded with King Harold, so Shanks wanted to meet him again. Then a mysterious figure stole the legendary devil fruit in Elbaf. Another flashback starts at the end of the chapter, this time 109 years ago. Here we can see a young and wild Harold rampaging through a human kingdom. No break next week. So that's super interesting. We're getting more into the backstory of King Harold and what's going on with him, because right now he's kind of like in a gray area. Sometimes we're thinking he might be a bad guy, sometimes we're thinking, oh, he might be a good guy, and then sometimes maybe he's somewhere in between. You know, depending on what Emu was saying, depending on what the Holy Knights were saying, depending on what the people of Elbaf say, depending on what Loki says, you know, so I guess Oda just wants us to be confused by this, and it'll eventually be, I guess, revealed in the flashbacks what's truly going on here. Because, you know, despite us starting this flashback, this might last a couple chapters at this point, because it's usually, you know, what happens in these arcs. And we haven't really gotten the flashback in Elbaf yet, so I guess this might be the official Elbaf flashback starting. You know, because we're having that right now in the anime with Egghead, we're having Kuma's flashback, so now I guess we're going to have Harold's flashback. And Gaban and Shanks were there too, so they're going to be a part of this as well. And another little interesting thing that was revealed by Pew Piece on Twitter, actually it's coming from Scotch Informer, but it was relayed through Pew Piece, but he says that Shanks had the Abyss/World Government mark on his arm at the time when he met Gaban. So that's wild. Did he always have that? I don't think we saw it in the beginning, right? There's no way. So I guess the arm that the Sea King ate took the tattoo with him or something, but it's like, when did he get that? I guess it's possibly when he went back to Mary Joie, because that's what Shamrock said. Shamrock said that Shanks went back to Mary Joie at some point, but then decided that it was better to just live, you know, outside of it, you know, be a pirate or whatever. So is it possible that when he went there, they branded him or gave him the mark? Or he just always had the mark and there's going to be like some kind of retcon revealing that, possibly. And also, going a little more into what Scotch Informer also gave us, he said 14 years ago, Shanks and Gaban were relaxing. Shanks mentioned that he wanted to form a pirate crew with Buggy, but he couldn't. And Gaban said, because you're the destined boy. Interesting. So destined boy to become the most powerful guy? Sure. Destined to be the guy who relays the Straw Hat to the rightful owner of Luffy, I guess? Okay, I guess that's what he's destined to be, because he is essentially the main character if Luffy wasn't around, right? I mean, he's the main character to Oda. He's like Oda's self-insert, along with Sanji, I suppose, but pretty interesting dialogue here. I mean, we're really going to have to ultimately see what happens in the actual page itself, but yeah, like I said, I think we're going into a, I don't know, 5 or 6 chapter flashback at this point, going over what happened with King Harold, and I guess what ultimately led to his death at the hands of Loki 6 years ago. And if Oda really wants to treat us, we might see Loki versus Shanks eventually. I mean, we got to see like Roger and Whitebeard clash, you know, in the flashback on Wano, so maybe this time around we'll actually get to see a little bit of Shanks versus Loki, possibly, and how he defeated him. And then also it talking about the legendary devil fruit of Elbaf being stolen by a certain person. Love the Oda wording here. Still don't know what that is. I'm sorry, a mysterious figure, it says. Who could that be? Don't know. I guess Loki eventually, because he's the one that ultimately eats it. But let us not forget that Loki still has that devil fruit. Whatever it is, we still don't know. Could be an analog to Nico or something. But maybe that devil fruit will finally be revealed in this flashback, possibly. That would be a cool way of revealing it. Just in like a flashback rather than us actually seeing it happen in real time. I mean, we don't have to see the transformation, but we could just find out the name of it. And then that'll hype it up even more. It's like, oh my god, yes, that fruit, how does that work? What does that look like? What powers does it have? You know, I think that's a good way of delivering. I guess that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you like the video, please leave a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.